13 to order. May I have roll call, please?
Joe Marie Nelson.
Here.
Frank Alimo.
Here.
Joseph Albert.
Here.
Roby Staples.
Here.
Jill Kravietz. Here. Donna Corbin-Savinsky.
Here.
And Joseph Perillo.
Okay, fire evacuation procedures. In the case of fire, there are 2 ways to exit. Okay, we're in a different room, so these aren't really relevant. We're going to go out these doors through the set of double doors and straight ahead out. Pledge of allegiance, please.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Executive session, we have nothing this evening, right, Jenny?
Correct.
Public participation, issues of concern that are not on the agenda. Is there anybody in the audience that wishes to address the agency? Public hearings, nothing scheduled. Correspondence, Jenny?
I don't have anything at this time.
The only thing in the packet I saw was the habitat.
Yep.
I think everybody got a copy of that.
Yeah.
Okay. Commissioners' correspondence. We'll start with Donna. Do you have anything?
No, I don't.
Joe?
No.
Okay. Jill?
Nothing.
Roby?
What's happened to all these projects that we were approved, like, on Amazon? Like the wall?
Update, and that's actually on my list, so. I'm sorry?
Yes, great. Why was I upstairs? They said first floor.
Yeah, you were usually up there, but.
You can have a
Make
seat.
yourself-
No problem.
So yeah, I have a list to go over with Ginny, and that was one of them.
Okay.
Anything, Frank?
Oh, man.
Okay. I've got a couple. We're gonna scratch off Craig. Dave Askew, I know that we had discussed at our last meeting. October 1st did not work with him. We were thinking of tonight, but he'd like to just preliminarily speak with Ginny. Is that correct?
Correct. He had spoken with Jim Luzak once, quite a while ago, and it was a very preliminary meeting and no specifics were exchanged. And he thought that it would be better use of our time and your time if he got a better handle on what it was. And it's my understanding, just from a brief conversation today with Joe Marie, that the wetlands is looking to have the larger developments and the larger businesses such as Lego and the Square and the larger subdivisions juxtaposed onto the wetlands map. So that you'll, and I also was thinking, I hadn't talked to Joe Marie about this, but I noticed that the aquifers aren't on your wetlands map. And while I know that the aquifer is enforced by planning and zoning, it probably would be helpful to you as a group if you knew where, if something was sitting on an aquifer.
Right.
So I will try to see what I can do. I have a GIS class tomorrow, and I'm going to talk to them about getting some of the map arc.
Now, you have what Jim had made for us, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Because
And-
that should have all the updates with the square and the subdivisions on it.
It doesn't. It
Doesn't.
just shows I didn't think to bring it, but it doesn't. It just shows some slash marks, and it's quite a bit bigger than what is
We have.
what you have.
Okay.
I was looking to make copies, but the machine was broken.
Okay. So when will you be speaking? with Dave?
He's supposed to get touch base with me sometime this week to set it up. If I don't hear from him by Friday morning, I will contact him and
Okay.
set something up.
Okay. Just a reminder that our next meeting is not a Tuesday, because that would be election day, so it's the following Wednesday, November 6th. And then I had 3 things I wanted to go over with Ginny and staff. Number one is what Roby had mentioned, site visit list, and I have copies of all these. I'm not exactly sure what Jim left for you. But there's, basically what he did is, when we would approve an application, we just had an ongoing list, and
Oh.
one of us would kind of take the lead in kind of going out there and just monitoring it, because
Okay.
there's only one of you.
Okay.
And so we haven't had this updated in a long time. If I give this to you, maybe you can find it somewhere? I don't know
Yes,
if you
that would be
mentioned
very
it.
helpful, and then I'll return
Okay.
it to you.
Also, I was gonna ask if this could be updated, which is just our roster with your information at the bottom, so the
Yes.
agency members can contact
Yeah.
you. And then, another thing that Jim did for us was building permit approvals. Do you have this as well?
Yes.
Okay.
I apologize, I didn't realize he went into specifics. For one of the other agencies, I just told them the number. But that's okay, I will, going forward, anything that I sign off on wetlands. There were 5 that I signed off for on wetlands since our last meeting. I went back and looked. They were very minor, either there weren't any wetlands, or there was like a shed, a small shed, and the wetlands were over on the other side. So, going forward, I will continue the
And
list.
that's usually what it is, sheds, decks, pools.
Yeah.
Just gives us an idea of
Yeah.
what's going on. in
Oh, no,
town.
you should know
could
what's
just pass that
doing.
down to Jay,
Yep.
that way
Yep.
you can remember.
And I did want to mention very quickly the site visit updates. I did go out just before Jim Luzak left. I believe it was the last day he was here, the day before he left. We went out to Mayfield. There had been a complaint that came in that someone was filling in the wetlands, and it came through another department. So Jim, myself, and 2 other people went over there. There were no wetlands being filled in. The state, the 2 or 3 gentlemen that work for the state moving the habitat were in the wetlands, moving the plants to a better location. And the contractor was completely at the other end, where there were no wetlands at all. So it was an unfounded report.
Okay, good. Okay, anybody else have anything, questions? Approval of minutes, September 17, 2013, regular meeting. Okay, is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Frank,
I'll second that.
seconded by Jill. Any discussion? Okay, I have just one correction on them. Under roll call, top row at the end, it says Roby Staples alternate. Are you an alternate? Right. I don't think we have any alternates besides Joe Perello. So if that could just be taken off. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Okay. Okay, building permit approvals? Nothing, Jenny?
Oh, I
Just
took
what
that
you-
out of turn, I apologize.
no problem.
That was the 5,
Okay.
and going forward, I will list them for you, and the
Okay.
location and what they are.
And wetland agent report?
I'm sorry, I missed, did we have 5 building permit approvals, new ones,
Since last.
since
There-
last time?
Wetlands is assigned on a building permit, whether there's wetlands or not, in some of the bigger ones. If there are absolutely no wetlands, you still have to sign off on wetlands. So 2 or 3 of them were that, where there were absolutely no wetlands, and the other 2 were small sheds where the wetlands were on opposite sides of the property.
So those took place between now and our previous meeting?
Correct.
Okay. And no problems?
No,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Bond release, we have nothing this evening. Old business, nothing. New business, inland wetlands 554, CTP Reman LLC, proposed modification to 199 Freshwater Boulevard, map 55, lot 2, received 10/15/13, PPE is 11/5/13, and MAD is 11/13/13. Good evening. Can you set it up right over here? That way the camera will be able to grab you. We have some seats over here, too.
Yeah.
Do.
Yeah, I got one. Well, what, you're on?
That's not on my phone.
no different than what came in the package,
Yeah.
right?
Oh,
Good evening. My name is Todd Clark. I work for Ashelman Land Surveying, East Hartford, Connecticut. We're here representing Camerata Truck Parts. They recently purchased a building at 199 Freshwater Boulevard to increase their business. Some modifications had to be made to the parking lot and the building to suit their needs. We do have a little bit of activity in the regulated area. Wetlands was flagged last week by soil scientist Wes Wentworth. We've shown the 100-foot wetland buffer, it's heavy black line. So we do have some work in here. The light gray is the existing pavement. We propose to add a ramp to get larger vehicles up to the first floor of the building, the only floor of the building. We need to add a little bit of pavement so the trucks can make that turn. We've also added oil, sand, water separator, which is an upgrade from what was approved in 1981 when this was originally built on. Right now, all the flows exit in this general area across a bituminous runoff into a swale. The swale is over 350 feet long. Very gradual slope. It's only about 0.5%. It's a nice flat, wide bottom. What that does, up until this point, any contaminants did get through off the parking lot. It's a vegetated swale. It acts as a biofilter. A lot of sunburn off of any chemicals that might have gotten through. With the new oil water separator, we expect a much cleaner water leaving the site. There's a slight bit of change over here inside the regulated area. We found that adding just a little bit of pavement, we can get quite a few more parking spots, which they need for the business. So all in all, we're actually upgrading the site in terms of water quality with this particular structure. The impervious coverage that we're proposing is 26%. We're allowed 66, so we're quite a ways under the requirement there. At this time, I'd like to entertain any questions. Also, Mr. Camerata is here. If you had any questions for him, I'm sure he'd be happy to address them.
Well, first we'll look towards Ginny for any comments. I think everybody got her memo. And really staff, because it came in late last week, I believe,
Right.
staff really hasn't had a chance to review it much, or?
Correct.
Okay. So, and then you're also putting in a generator pad, is that correct? I'm sorry?
Yes.
It's
They're always in the backup generator.
yeah, it's actually in the front of the building. It's outside the regulated area.
Okay.
Right next to the transformer.
So just that little corner, the dark gray there, that's really what we're concerned with
That's
there?
added pavement, right? That's the only.
And then
And then
just
it's
those
like-
few little squares
right
in that corner?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry, any questions, Frank?
yes. Your runoff is going to go in the same direction after it goes through the separating and cleaning system, correct?
Right, right,
Okay, so you're gonna be improving the quality of the water that goes that way.
correct.
What was in that building previously?
There's a foundry.
The Foundry. That's right.
Foundry.
Foundry.
Foundry? Roby, do you have any questions?
There's a small swale in front of that building also, right? Yeah.
Yeah, there's a large town drainage system that dumps onto the property and runs much like this does. A very, very low
Really,
flow.
it's very minimal at the most.
Right.
The parking, that's not gonna give much more.
No, the
Plus you're
added
putting in a
pavement.
separator, that was never there before,
Mm.
which is good.
The improvement?
That other thing has been there for some time. The parking lot goes right up to it almost, right?
Oh, here, yes, yeah, it does.
No, I mean in the back section there. Yeah,
Um,
up further, yeah.
Yeah, actually, the pavement runs off, that'll have to be removed, we're gonna, run a pipe out to the wetlands.
Yeah. Gotta be better.
Is that, just one more, if I may, that's the new swale, well, not the original swale, that's gonna be improved. Is that right on the Tarno property line?
The Tarno line is here, the added pavement that we need, cuts into the existing bank, so we're pushing the bank back. It looks probably 8 feet or so to the, property line from our top of bank.
You're saying that the dark gray is the inland wetlands. What about in the front of the building where the new parking spaces, that as well?
Right, that's new pavement.
So there's
we
3
can-
sections.
Right, the light gray is the existing pavement, and then we're gonna bump that out, was it about 15 feet or so, so we can pick up all these parking spaces.
But that's not wetlands.
No, no, the wetlands is just the option.
So it's just within the 100 feet.
Right, that's the regulated area.
Right. Joe?
I don't have any questions.
No, good. Good. Seems pretty, pretty cut and dry. The only question I do have is, on these plans, normally we request that there's some kind of snow stockpile area noted on it. I didn't see it. Do you see it?
No, I don't believe we've addressed that.
So I think we'd like to note where that would be on the plan.
Well, if anything, you got that whole corner there.
You do have a whole
On the
corner.
front, on South Road there, on that side.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
because that's not where
There's
the,
plenty of room to do it outside of the regulated area.
right, so maybe the map that goes back to Jeannie should just have that on
Jeremy, one more
Yeah,
thing.
sure.
It's usually in our conditions, but maintenance on the separator?
there. It is, it's to the left.
Yeah,
Got it?
it's on there.
Okay,
Maintenance schedule.
I see it, okay, sorry, I see it there.
I think that's,
It's usually a condition.
yeah, well, that's part of the thing.
It should be on the map as well.
Yeah.
That's the first one.
Yeah, it's right there.
Okay.
There you go.
All right, so tonight we're just accepting it in. We'll have comments from staff at the next meeting, which still gives you time to, because you're on the agenda for P and Z the following Thursday after us, right? So, I think we're good for now.
Mhm.
All right, so we will see you November 6th,
you.
Wednesday.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Yes,
you.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda, new applications, we have nothing else, other business. Official map update discussion, which Jenny's gonna have. And I think Joe had one
Got it.
more comment before we,
Jenny,
Yes,
is it possible that our next meeting, we can have an updated list on any bonds that are being held for any projects?
I can try. I'll check with staff in the office. That's not something that I'm usually acquainted with, so I will. Do you have a set period of time you're interested in, or just everything?
Well, if there's anything that's outstanding still, just so we kind of can keep up with it, so, you know, because it's happened before in the past where things have fallen through the cracks,
Okay,
and next thing you know, it's forgotten.
okay.
I just want to keep up with that, because I think we had an issue at one time with a bond that had slipped through the cracks, and Jose brought it to our attention, it needed to be released.
Okay.
And so I don't want to hold anybody's money up.
All right.
And then,
I'll see what I can do on that.
Just, Jeremy, if I may, on those, is there a trigger that comes up when the, you know, when the performance period is done, where,
The applicant is supposed to formally request it so that the inspection can be performed and it can be placed on the next agenda.
so the burden is on the applicant to say,
Correct.
the performance period is done, we've completed the requirements of the bond? So it's,
Otherwise, staff would be going out, not necessarily myself, but in any of the bonds that are being held, staff would have to go out on a regular basis and go, oh, nope, still not ready,
Because
or,
these permits, I mean, they're valid
Well,
for
they
5
bang on
years,
your
so,
door when they
and you
want their
have
money
extensions
back.
on them.
right,
so-
exactly.
Yeah.
So they understand that when they.
Right.
Right,
yes.
but like I
Which,
said,
want your money back?
No,
Oh,
sure,
no,
that's
it
what I'm
is
saying.
good
I
to
mean,
do a check to
if
make
you
sure
wouldn't
there's
think you'd
not
have to
some
change them, I
places.
guess is where I'm going, right?
You do.
Okay. Our next meeting, as I said, is Wednesday, November sixth, 2013, 7 o'clock, again, in the, here, Enfield Room.
Mm-hmm.
And is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a-
Motion to adjourn.
Motion
I'll
made by
second.
Roby, seconded by Joe. All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.
Wow.